Hi guys, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
So Nikki and I are joined today by Logan Vanderpool of the CrossFit Vanderpools. Logan, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me, John. How are you?
I'm good. You have a very fancy name. I like fancy names.
There's a lot of syllables involved.
I know. I
Be
don't know if you
careful
grew
with
up
that.
rich. I don't know if you grew up rich, but you sound rich. That's why I wish I had a name like Vanderpool. I would have just lied to everyone. Oh yeah, my parents send me to school here. They'd be like, public school? Yeah, yeah. They
Yes,
send me
yes,
here.
as a matter of fact.
As a
Yep,
matter.
public school, Santa Cruz, California. The
Nice.
Vanderpools of Santa Cruz.
Wow, the heart of CrossFit,
I
Yes.
know, the Mecca.
the Mecca. I love Santa Cruz.
It's a cool place. It's very, very unique.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Little sleepy surfer town. You have Verve Coffee, which sends me free stuff all the time. I'm
What,
almost
Verb
out.
is from Santa Cruz?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
only know Verb from being the people that give John free coffee.
that's how I hooked up with them because they're from Santa Cruz. And it's amazing.
Oh.
You know what else is from Santa Cruz? The movie Lost Boys. Greatest movie ever.
It is filmed here in town.
Yeah, right across from that
Wow.
little amusement park. So, Nikki, I know it's way too old a movie for you probably, but you need to go watch it because it's awesome.
Okay, and what is it called?
Lost Boys. It's got
Okay.
Kiefer Sutherland was in it. Corey Haim. Both Corys were in it.
Both Corys.
Both Corys, a few other people that were famous in the 80s. It's great.
Cool. I just wrote it down.
It's
I will
awesome.
watch it.
So, so, uh, so let's talk about Logan.
I know. Well, it's funny to me because this is the first time that you guys are meeting, but Logan and I have known each other now for years. I like to call her my soulmate. So, this is it's a battle of the,
thing.
it's a real thing, a battle of the besties, right? Because like John and I are besties, like Logan and I are soulmates. I don't know how it's gonna go, but
Like a big hug instead of battling it out.
right,
All come
giant.
together and join forces
Right.
like a Power Ranger when they
Yeah. Yes, we are exactly like the Power Rangers. That's totally where I was going with this. But yeah, so you guys, this is the first time you guys are having a chance to meet. But Logan and I met by chance, I would say. We were paired up as roommates.
Mind.
Yes, thrown to the fire together at the CrossFit Games. What year?
2017, my first year at the games.
Yeah, so we were roommates, and Logan's been a CrossFit MC on the floor for years. And before that, before going to games, was at regionals, and now does Sanctionals, RIP regionals. And I know. And
Wait,
we should talk about some of our times on the floor together. But
we got to back up. So you guys were roommates. So Greg made you guys bunk up when he had a media team?
yeah.
Wow.
This is my understanding of the story. So it was the first year in Madison, and there was some kind of snafu with the hotel room reservations, and so we all got paired up with a roomie
We
that
got
year.
roommates.
I'm just imagining everybody fighting to room with Roe. That's all I'm thinking.
I think maybe some HQ staff had their own rooms.
Okay.
But I do think that we learned quickly, right? Like we went to Madison for the first time ever as a team. And we didn't know, and I say we, like including the CrossFit HQ staff that were booking us and stuff like that. Like we did not realize that the town was small and the interest would be large, and that like fans and people coming in to watch the games would sort of like take over the town before we even had a chance to get our ducks in a row and book the book the media people and the camera guys and the TV guys, and like so we literally, there was not enough space. And because we work such long days when we're on the event staff, we have to be nearby. So like I'm sure we could have had our own rooms if we wanted to stay like half an hour away. We had to be there early. We had to, be there long nights and days early and days late. So we opted to stay across the street from the venue and have roommates. It was fine.
Nice. Very
And
nice.
it turned out to be the best thing ever
Best
because
thing ever.
I was the total rookie on the team. My first year, nobody knew who I was. And I get this message, you're going to be rooming with Niki Brasher. Here's her contact info. I think we had texted a couple times.
Yeah.
I got there first. She came in late. She had big bags like me, overpacking, spray tan fresh. And I was like, this is going to work out well.
Perfect. I was like, do you want to get your nails done and drink Prosecco tonight? Okay, perfect. This is gonna go really well. And the rest is history. Now when we go to events together, we're just totally fucked because we're like, do you have room in your suitcase for this? And the other person's never be like, no, absolutely not. I have no room in my suitcase for anything. I don't know what to do.
It's a problem.
Wow. I just thought Greg was cheap. That's all I was thinking.
No,
he just wasn't going to pony up the dough. He knew he was going to get rid of everybody the next year. So he's like, screw it, make them all room together.
Nah, I don't think. I mean,
at this next year,
right?
Yeah, we didn't room together after that, did we?
No, and we keep asking. We're like, so are you guys pairing people up? Because me and Nikki will be together. Like, no, you guys actually get your own rooms now. We're like, darn.
Damn it, that sucks. But yeah, fine, whatever. We're gonna room together in Norway though. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. And fly together.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Wow. So Logan, what are you doing in Norway?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to be wearing a couple different hats. I know I get to help Nikki with some social media stuff. I might hop in on the floor. I have talked to them about helping out with the broadcast a bit if they need a female voice to jump in. So yeah, I'm going to be hopping between all the different media avenues wherever they need me.
Yeah, it's so cool because Logan's been emceeing for a while now, but you also got to do some commentary on the broadcast last year during the Sanctional season.
Mm-hmm. Learn by doing. Showed up to MC and got the opportunity to be on the broadcast, and with minimal heads up, and jumped in and wore the headset and did the whole deal.
That's so cool. That was in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, in Amsterdam.
That's so cool. The Lowlands Throwdown.
Lowlands Throwdown.
Awesome.
Like this whole page was the page in the podcast is basically a fly by the seat of our pants. So trust me, if anyone understands, just jump in and do it. It's this podcast for sure. We have
Accurate.
no idea what we're doing. No idea.
No, we're totally making it up as we go. 150%.
Well, I am. Nikki's a pro. She knows what she's doing. I'm just winging everything.
I'm not. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Clearly, as people online keep pointing out to me.
Why do you hate Canada so much, Nikki?
Understand.
Why do you hate Canadians?
Oh my God. This
doesn't like Canada.
This is crazy. It's insane. Like, I will never joke about anything. No, fuck it. Of course I will. Like, I will joke and be myself and pretend to be offended when someone calls me Canadian.
Back up. Logan, have you heard this story?
I know the outward structure of what's going on. Yeah.
Most of the people listening to this aren't going to have any idea what we're talking about, but Nikki was on Team Richie's vlog, which is a very popular CrossFit vlog.
Like months ago. And
Craig's a great dude. Craig and Jazz, who run this page, are amazing
awesome
people. And Craig said something to Nikki about her being Canadian, and she goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you think I'm from Canada." She's like,
I'm so offended that you think I'm Canadian.
Well, now the entire country of Canada thinks she's an asshole.
Oh my fucking God.
Like, how dare you?
Troll on Instagram.
Yeah, but it's like, well, like when it first happened, people were like, I can't believe that you would be so mad to be called, like, oh my fucking God, I am so obviously joking. And it's like funny because Craig is European and has clearly no idea like what's Canada, what's America. Like, that's why it was funny.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the best part. Here's the best part. So Nikki gets trolled today on the Strength in Depth page.
Yes.
Some just random Canadian comes in and goes, "Well, I'm glad Nikki Brazier didn't MC this event." Clearly trolling her, and then states that he's pissed off that she said this about Canadians. So I can't help myself because Nikki's my bestie. So I
love you,
and so I have to go in and troll the guy because when he did it, he put #StopRacism. I'm like, well, first of all, being Canadian isn't a race. Like this just
first of all,
yeah, unless being pasty white and smelling of maple syrup is a race, then maybe.
Well, in which case, then I am that race because that is me and my husband. That is what we are: pasty white and smell of maple syrup.
Oh, that is so me. It is so me.
Yes.
So I troll the guy and tell him, I'm like, look, that's not a race, so it's not racism. And he messages me, and I didn't tell you this. He demanded an apology because you called Canada America's hat.
That was a joke. That was another when someone was like, it was you. You were like, why do you hate Canadians? Why do you hate Timbits? Why do you hate Tim Hortons? And like my response was like, American Canada is just America's hat. Like
it is. Well, I told the guy, I'm like, listen, not only is that an established satirical phrase, they sell T-shirts of it on Amazon. It's that popular. Like I
didn't even make it up. I'm not that smart.
Yeah, it wasn't like you created the phrase. Like Come
You should
on.
claim it, Nikki.
I know.
Yes. So
America's hat, TM. Proceeds go to the Braziers.
So he demanded an apology. I told him he's going to be waiting for quite a while.
Well, what was the only weird thing? And like, I know that people listening are probably going to be like, don't give the trolls any like love because that like, boosts them, whatever. It's true. It's totally true. And normally I wouldn't give a shit because people are just assholes online anyway. It is what it is. But they tagged me in the comment. That was the weirdest part. They were like, oh, I'm so glad that you guys didn't have @reporter Nicole at this event. And I'm like, but like, you are entitled to whatever opinion you want. I don't care, but like, why would you tag me in the? I'm gonna see it.
It's tagging her. It's not talking about her. It's like bringing you into the comment.
Right. Like what? I don't. Again, chalk it up to like me not understanding why people are such dicks online. Just stop. Everybody, just stop. #love everyone. #stop racism.
#stop racism.
Which is a great hashtag, by the way.
It really is.
Absolutely stop racism.
I would like to point out you never answered the question why you hate Canada, but that's okay. We can move on. We can absolutely move on. Stop racism.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. I would like to get back to the original point of why we brought Logan onto the podcast today, which is not just to talk about the fact that we're the best roommates in the world and both really good / bad at overpacking for sanctionals. But Logan has a new position with Loud and Live ahead of a couple of the sanctioned events that are coming up, including one right in the West Coast, right in homeland for you.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so neat. The basis of what you're doing is really sort of the basis of CrossFit in general and bringing the community together and making sure that athletes of all levels are represented. So can you just tell us a little bit about what your current project is and what you got going on?
Yeah, totally. So the West Coast Classic, if you guys can see my cool new swag.
Wow. Cool bear.
So it's one of the sanctioned events that's happening in March. It's in Del Mar at the Del Mar Fairgrounds where the California and then West Regional used to be.
OG.
Yeah. I think it's the best venue for CrossFit competition that I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah. And I've emceed at the games and regionals and local comps and some things in other areas as well. And it's the coolest.
Why?
So it's at a fairgrounds. So, and it's at the main arena of the fairgrounds. So it's covered, but it's also kind of outdoors. Like it's kind of like a breezeway. Some of the areas are open on the ends. And we just pack the house. Like the amount of energy in that large of an arena is really, really fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's the same venue, but we're actually, for the West Coast Classic, we're expanding out more into the fairgrounds than we ever did before at regionals. So we're adding 2 more competition stages, like Wodapalooza, like Granite Games, and opening it up for the community to be able to compete and participate. So it's one of the only sanctioned events where other divisions that aren't trying to qualify for the games can come and compete and have fun and throw down. And so I am traveling around different parts of California for the last 2 weeks. And then I've got 2 more weeks to connect with local gyms from the California CrossFit community to inform them and make sure that they know that we want them represented and participating, and for the West Coast Classic to really bring in the West Coast affiliates.
That's so cool. I love that.
It's really cool. So there's community teams of 3, which is really fun. It's either 3 guys or 3 girls. And there's RX, intermediate, and scale divisions. And there's no qualifier. So
you can just sign up and go.
You sign up and go.
Well, that's so neat.
You pick the division that you feel like you best fit in, grab 2 friends of the same gender, and you're competing in Del Mar in March.
So I think this is so cool because, like, the season structure is so weird. Like, we're still getting used to it. We've got new events that pop up every other day. Loud and Live is buying another event every 5 minutes, and no one really knows anymore where they can go and what they can do to get involved. My thing is this, like, there are so many qualifiers that even as a regular person, like an average kind of RX athlete, not necessarily scaled or elite or anything, like I'm just like a regular person. I don't even know, I mean, let alone how the hell do the athletes figure out how they're going to qualify for games? Like, I don't even know where I can go to get involved. And like, I know Wodapalooza has a big field. I know Granite has a big field, but I also know there's an individual qualifier and there's a team qualifier and there's online things. And did I miss it? And I don't know. So it's kind of cool that there's an opportunity for all the boxes on the West Coast and really all the boxes, I mean, around the country, if anyone wants to go out there and travel, but to try and make it an event where local gyms can come out and represent. I mean, it feels to me kind of like Filthy 150 did, where we heard that there were representatives from every gym in the entire country of Ireland that showed up there. I mean, that's fucking cool. That's so cool. Really cool. Can you imagine if you got reps from almost every gym in and around at least the area surrounding Del Mar? Like, how cool would it be to have just such a strong showing of the community on the West Coast? It's so well representative of all of the things that make CrossFit special to us. Like connecting with people in other areas and, you know, figuring out what you can do to work together and sweat together and represent together. And I mean, look at all the cool shit we've done recently, especially all the people that have, like, you know, I think of the folks that have raised money for the fires in Australia, like just through the CrossFit community, or the people that raise money for my family's house fire a few months ago. Like, man, we do cool shit when we get together. So I think it's cool that you're, you know, meeting these people in real life and convincing them to grab friends and represent and just be a big family. I mean, are you getting that vibe when you walk into those gyms?
Totally. Yeah. Everybody is super psyched on it. The people that knew about it are even more psyched if there's somebody from the competition to like try and bring out even more members to participate. But there are quite a few gyms, even from the fairly local areas, that just aren't cued in really anymore to like the competition scene. And they maybe have heard about the West Coast Classic, but they didn't know that it was even open to any other divisions besides the elite divisions, the Josh Bridges and the Cole Sagers. But so once they hear about it and they're like, oh, it's like a local comp, but at a really, really big stage where I can represent my community and our community can come down as a whole and rent a house for the weekend and have fun and cheer everybody on. It's very exciting.
And feel like you are like a games athlete or like a regionals athlete. I mean, John, you kind of had that at Winter Classic last year. You're on the floor with Mike and Larry when they're like announcing your name and you can, you know, you cross the finish line.
All right. First of all, I didn't feel anything like a games athlete. Secondly, you'd need to create a division of men who like to work out at the women's RX for me to even think about signing up for that.
It's actually a great idea. There's a big community of you guys.
There's a huge community of us. I've said forever, I am a very strong woman. Very strong.
You are. I'm very impressed constantly.
I am.
Hey, you kicked my ass on that 1,000-meter row.
God, well, first of all, I'm like 6 inches taller than you, so I should. You know, I mean, I should. I'm taller than you. I've got the height advantage.
Was that one of the Under Armour tests?
No, it was just when we were in Baltimore for the UA Human Performance Summit. We dropped into a gym. It was me, John, and John David with a 1,000-meter row test. I was like, well, cool. I'll see you guys in
see you on the other side.
Yeah, see you in like an hour.
John David killed that thing too. Like he crushed us both. Like I'm a pretty decent, for the record, I'm a pretty decent rower. Like I'm not a terrible rower. Of all the things I'm bad at, rowing isn't really one of them. But I'd never done a 2,000-meter row before, ever, as a test anyway.
Was it 2,000 meters? Did I call it 1,000? It was 2,000.
It was 2,000.
So
so it's like, you know, you just kind of have to come out at a pace and like just hold that pace and then try to go hard for the last 500 meters. It was kind of mentally, it's not that hard until you actually get into it. And then, and so when John David finished like a full minute ahead of me, and I'm a banker, so I do math really fast in my head. I'm like, oh my God, like he was pulling a full 15 seconds fast. Yeah.
Splits, man.
Yeah, he was like my splits were like 145 to 150. So he was like 135 to 145 and he just crushed me. Like, oh, it was so bad.
Yeah, I was like 210.
So bad.
I was just plodding along. No big deal.
I was well above the 2-minute mark. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
So back to the California Classic, I've heard a ton of great stuff about this event. I can't tell you how many messages I've had from people asking me if I was coming out, which I'm not.
Oh, cool. Are you going to come out?
You're not going?
No, I'm not coming.
Oh, you got to come.
Oh, come on.
First of all, I only get so much time off. So I've got to be really selective in where I go. And you're talking about all the way across the country, so it's a little more expensive to make that trip than it is to go to Rogue, which is 2 hours from here.
I know.
So
I'm saying, come on, like I'm going to. I'm not planning on going. Unless
you guys, come on.
I know. Well, I mean, they probably need sidelines, so someone should call me. That's all
maybe we'll talk O'Keefe into, give him a press pass. I'd consider it then. Bring the podcast.
There you go.
We can do that.
I'll have to suck up to O'Keefe if I run into him at any point, although I'm not sure he ever remembers me. We'll see.
You just gotta name drop for a second. You just gotta be like,
oh, he knows who I am.
I'm
he knows
John Willie.
He knows who I am by name. He wouldn't recognize me by face. At least I don't think he would. But
it'd be fun to do some podcasting from out there. That'd be cool.
That would be fun.
Really good idea. I bet you guys could get hooked up with the media side. I like that, because the podcast thing within the CrossFit space is still so new. Like there's kind of only a handful of you guys.
Yeah, and we only have a handful of listeners. Sorry, Logie. I should have told you before you came on here. There's only 2 people who listen, and it's my mom and John's mom.
Yeah.
So.
And then we'll add a third, and my mom can join.
Perfect.
Awesome.
No, I think we need to do more events like this. And Niki and I are going to do some of that. She's when she travels to Norway, she's going to do some interviews out there for us since I can't make that trip. And I'm going to be at Wadapalooza, so I'll do some while I'm there. And
I'll just have FOMO.
Yeah.
Sad.
I know. You need to be at Wadapalooza. Logan, are you going to be at Wadapalooza?
That is still up in the air. I'm hoping some stars align and some things fall into place. But as of right now, technically, no.
So what events do you guys own? So you guys own almost all of them at this point. But I know that's not true.
All of the events, right?
So last year, Loud and Live took over Wadapalooza, Granite Games, and the Madrid CrossFit Championship.
Right.
And then starting this year, brand new from scratch, the West Coast Classic and the Mayan CrossFit Classic
Championship, something. Yep.
And that's in Mexico. So those 2 are going to be brand new this year. And then the 3 that were already in existence are now being run by the same group.
It's so cool that they bring in like that Latin flair. It connects so well with the Latin community and the Latin American community as well, and do a lot of their broadcasts in English and in Spanish. And I know that there are other divisions of the organization that do sort of like event planning and things around like Spanish concerts and things like that. It's just cool. It's really cool, inclusive organization, seems like.
Well, the Spanish community, the Latin community, both in Central America and South America, are fanatical about CrossFit.
Really?
They're crazy about it. The Brazil championships, like Saxon and Spencer went, and you came back thinking they were rock stars the way they got treated.
So cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
They absolutely love it. And everyone I've run into I feel like I've got a lot of fans in that part of the world, and I met some at the games, and they didn't speak a lick of English, but it was really funny meeting them because they type really good English. And then I go meet them, and like they just kind of stare at me and smile. We take pictures. It was fun. And I only speak like Spanish. I learned when I worked in the restaurant business, so it's not appropriate for those conversations.
Yeah, no, maybe not.
Yeah, so it was a weird moment. But cool. They love CrossFit, and they love their specific CrossFitters. Like I think of Brenda Castro specifically. Like they're so
she's so cool, man.
Yeah, they're so proud of her because she's made the games a couple of times and just a tremendous athlete and a great representative of the sport.
I love it.
They just love her.
Brendita, yeah. So, Logan, what are you hearing when you go to these gyms and you're letting them know that West Coast Classic is new, but it's available for everyone? Like, what are you hearing in terms of what people are saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. Is there still like weirdness about sanctionals, or are people pretty much on board at this point? Do they talk to you about how they're feeling about CrossFit in general these days?
Yeah, it really depends on the gym. And people are kind of falling on all areas of the spectrum. So at first, the first couple gyms that I went into have kind of stepped away from involvement or really caring about the CrossFit competition scene. Like, I don't think they participated in the last Open. And so that was, but there were still people from the good old days.
Yeah.
Oh, competition, cool. Like I want to know more about it. But just kind of like the management from the gym wasn't super psyched on it.
Yeah.
They weren't anti, but they weren't like, oh my gosh, what are the dates? Like, how many teams can we bring?
Yeah. Not on board like they maybe would have been a few years back before the great purge, as I like to call it, from HQ.
The hard 90.
Yeah.
And then but then the next gym that I went into, they totally knew about it. They had 2 community teams already registered. They have a handful of masters athletes already registered, which is also open registration, no qualifier for any of the age groups.
So cool. I like that.
But that competition is individual. So it's the same as the games, 35 and up all the way to 60 plus, and then the same teenage division as the games too.
John, I don't know.
I don't like the fact you got so excited when she said 60 plus. You immediately thought of me. I'm not that old.
No, definitely not. I just think, it's maybe your opportunity to hop back on the competition floor.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wah, wah.
Nope. Too old. Plus, I wouldn't pass a drug test. So that'd be.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. All those peds you got going on.
Nothing but Enduraball and this LaCroix. That's all I'm talking about.
Just a couple dropper fulls.
Yes. It's all my supplements.
I wish sometimes, you guys. Sometimes I wish anyway.
I'm still amazed people miss regionals, to be honest. I was just talking to Saxon about this the other day. Like, I don't miss it at all. Of course, I'm obviously not an athlete, but like as a fan, there's so many more events now, so much more to watch. There's so like this weekend was Strength and Depth. So there's all this live streaming that you can watch and all these great athletes. There's parts of it like I get a little sentimental about, like, you're watching this weekend and Frazier's just dominating all weekend long and he's already qualified. So there's no drama, so that part's a little weird, you know? And the fact that even like, the thing at Rich's gym, the Mayhem Classic, you already had multiple people that had qualified and it's like the first event of the season. So those things are kind of weird, but I love the fact, like what we're talking about here at the California Classic, where you've got, all these local gyms coming in. I mean, that to me is cool. That to me is more CrossFit than a regional event, if that even makes sense. Like bringing local gyms together, and that's what excites me about it. And I think we'll see that in most of these, and all these countries get to host their own events now. Like you guys are going to Norway, and you'll get to wear the hat with the big horns. It'll be awesome.
Hopefully, one can only hope. You know what I want to see is they have white reindeer. I want to find one.
Let's find one.
I want to find one and take it home.
These are wild animals, right? Like
it's fine.
Okay, I just don't want you to
love me.
It's always some dumb American that wanders into Canada and sees a moose and goes, "Oh, look, a moose! I'm gonna hug it," and then they're dead. So
first of all, we're not allowed to talk about Canada on this podcast anymore. Second of all, I promise I won't hug the reindeer. But no, like white reindeer and like the Aurora Borealis, like there's so many cool things in that part of the world that we've never had a chance to see before. So I'm hoping we can get some time to hang out. But you're totally right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's a ton of variation now, right? So like you can get your CrossFit fix all over the world, basically every weekend during the season. And I get that. And I like that. I'm not saying that I miss regionals completely, because I have fallen into the new world order and I'm used to it and I like it and I'm learning how to navigate it, so I have no problems with it. But there are some things about regionals that I still miss too, like the symmetry of the test. Like I do miss something, and we have that with the open still. Like I get that everyone does the same workouts and they're judged the same way, but I miss the symmetry of knowing that people who are qualifying are doing the exact same test the whole way through. And that's not to say that I don't like the variation we see now, because that interests me in a completely different way. Like it totally keeps me interested that every one of these events has different qualifiers and different benchmarks and different things. Like that's cool to me, but I see pluses and minuses on both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The scope of all the new competitions is way greater than anything that we could have done with the old format.
Totally.
Like this weekend with Strength and Depth with the rowing.
Yeah, so cool.
Being able to throw in new tests like that is so interesting to watch and to see how the athletes are going to dive in and how they're going to adapt. But maybe regionals is just nostalgic.
Yeah, maybe for us, we loved it.
And I have heard some people's opinions of like that kind of middle of the road competitive athlete where they knew they weren't going to the games, but regionals was still their goal and they wanted to maintain their status as a regional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
That level of competition doesn't really exist anymore.
Well, that was my whole friggin' op-ed that I wrote for Morning Chalk Up that like started a complete shitstorm online last year. Because I think those people can qualify for sanctionals and call themselves sanctionals athletes the exact same way they call themselves regionals athletes. I think they're just butthurt about the changes in the system. Probably inviting all the trolls into my life right now.
Yeah, I think they might be kind of slow on the uptake of the new format, but also the new opportunities. Like you said, a lot of those athletes, if you were competitive at regionals, you can qualify for at least one sanctioned event.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Or sign up as a team of 3 for the RX division at the West Coast Classic.
And podium.
And
make
money.
Like do your thing. Like own whatever space you're at, whatever level you're at in your competitive life, like own that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully next year, sign up for the men who identify with the women's RX division.
The newest of the Loud and Live division.
I'm going to be the Matt Frazier of that division.
Ooh.
No doubt in my mind. I'm just going to dominate it.
Just never, ever wearing a shirt. Just 100 points ahead constantly.
I'm like 6 inches too tall. I couldn't do it. I know, it's true.
Crush women's RX.
Yes.
I think that's a good shirt.
Actually, that'd be a great shirt.
That's a great idea. Yes, that's good. That's my next shirt idea. I'll pay royalties, Logan. That'd be great.
Pitch me a percentage. I'm in.
Yeah, you'll get whatever. When Nikki's mom buys one and my mom buys one, and now your mom,
so your mom will buy one too.
My mom will get one for sure.
Everybody gets a cut.
Okay,
perfect. We each get 30 cents. We're really learning how to make money off of this whole CrossFit media thing, guys. Like,
yes,
so good. Oh my God. So, I'm gonna put Logan on the spot. Can I?
Yep, I hope so.
Okay. Just, I don't know, in all of your years of like being at all these competitions, being on the floor, getting to know the athletes and calling like the coolest events, what do you think is your favorite or favorites, if you can't decide on one, memory just from having the opportunity to be part of what I like to call the hashtag fittest media team on earth?
They're pretty, I mean, I don't know if we're fit, but fitness related. So yeah.
Fitness adjacent.
Yes, exactly. Favorite moments. That's really hard because for me, when I MC, I tend to talk about what's happening and not really like actually digest it and store it in the memory banks.
Totally. In your memory palace.
I love the masters, like the older masters athletes.
Totally. And
how psyched they get for each other and how hardcore they legit cheer each other on. And like the 60-plus-year-old guys doing bar muscle ups, and then the one guy who's like 1 year out from his heart attack, competing on his 63rd birthday, like back on the competition floor in Madison. I love that kind of stuff. That stuff keeps me so psyched.
That's so cool.
Here's a question for you. Who was the smelliest athlete you ever interviewed? Niki won't answer this.
I refuse to say because I will get trolled. I know this now.
Oh, who's stinky? I don't know if I usually am like kind of in passing. It's like as they're coming across the finish line, it's like, woof.
Could be anyone at that point.
How about weirdest moment? What's the weirdest moment you've had with an athlete?
That's the thing is that I don't interact a ton with them because I'm on the floor as they come out and then on the floor as they leave. Definitely gotten in people's way.
That's weird.
Trying to like get the angle of seeing who's in the lead, or if you're like trying to read the monitors on the bikes or the rowers. And then somebody's like, move. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in your lane. I am so sorry. I am not supposed to be in your way.
So I shouldn't say I never, I've only emceed anything once. And the hardest thing for me was trying to figure out how much weight everybody was lifting, like doing the math in my head real quick.
Sucks.
It was like some sort of 1 rep max clean thing. And they're adding weight. And like I had calculated all the starting weights, but then they start throwing on odd size plates and fractional plates. And I'm
Dude, try doing it in fucking kilos.
Oh yeah.
It was impossible.
That's the worst.
I finally just started shouting to the judges. I just shout to the judges, what do they have on the bar? And they'd tell me real quick, and then I'd announce it.
That's the best. Or when the judge has to write down the attempt, so then you get to come over their shoulder and call what the person's about to lift, or if they have the number plates.
Oh yeah.
In the front, those are super helpful.
Those are great for like the beginning. It's even for the broadcast. Like anytime we set up for 1 rep max or something like that, when they have those little like tent cards that have the numbers and they can flip them over, it's always really good from the start because we're like, yes, great, we're gonna know what's there. And like me from the sideline, like I can't walk around on the floor like you can, so I can't like look at the numbers. So I'm like trying to like peep up to the truck, like, hey guys, it's this on this lane or this on that lane. And it always is great for like the first 2 rounds. And then like the judges kind of like, it all goes to shit. They're like, damn it. Like he added that. Now I'm going to write it down, but I can't switch the thing. We're calling the wrong numbers on the broadcast. And it's kind of a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Or calling somebody the wrong name for an entire event.
Ooh.
And then because they put themselves in the wrong lane and there's too many age group athletes to know people by their faces.
You guys have one job to do. You go out there, you go in your lane. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. Stay where your nameplate is, please.
Come on, man.
This was funny. We called the swim 2 years ago, so 2018, for all the Masters athletes, and so there's a ton of them. And as they're coming out, you see a swim cap, and then you see traps, and you're like, okay, and the male athlete coming out of the water is now. And then as they come up, you see the swimsuit. You're like, it's a female athlete, and they're burly. So I messed that one up, and you have no idea who they are because they all have goggles and a swim cap. And the numbers hard to read, and it's just like, oh man, like swallow the pride. I'm just really royally fucking this one.
I will say though, like it's cool, like the fact that you do get out on the floor and call their names and call their lifts and call their, like it's really cool that you do that. And it's cool that you have love for the Masters divisions and the teen divisions, like the age groups in general, because they don't get enough coverage and they deserve more coverage. And we've been saying that for a while. And I just think that having you out there on the floor, really caring about them and like loving them as much as you do is a level of coverage and professionalism and games-esque feel that that they get that they otherwise wouldn't if you didn't do that. So I think it's really cool that you do that and you love it so much.
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, also calling for, Brett Fikowski and Josh Bridges going head to head towards the finish line at the floor on the floor in Del Mar. Nothing quite like that either, but
right, of course.
I'd love to see more emphasis back on the teens. I mean, not that I don't care about the Masters because I think they work really hard, but these teens are really the future of the sport. Really,
totally.
Particularly on the women's side. Like, I don't know why there's such a difference between the men and the women, but just in the last year, you've seen a lot of these.
Oh, did you say puberty?
Yeah,
that's puberty. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I see that. I mean, I get that. Like, I'm friends with Dolan Pepper, who won 3 years in a row on the teen boys side, and he had no shot this year. And I say that with total respect because he's a beast. Like, the kid is amazing.
Yeah,
but
he's insane.
The gap between him and Frazier is astronomical, where you see like Haley Adams comes in.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's top 10, and the gap's not that big, and I think she's still got a couple of years away from really contending for a title, but
for sure.
She can absolutely be top 10 again, maybe podium. I mean,
remember that Haley qualified for regionals her last year as a teen athlete. What?
Yeah.
Did she compete at regionals that year?
Yeah, she did. And I want to say that she was somewhere between 10 and 20. Like, was not.
Well, now there's who's this new girl? Was at Strength to Death? Paige
Powers.
Paige Powers is another one. Like, these teen athletes are just really, really impressive, and I think it's a big miss by HQ to not have coverage on them. to just make them kind of mysteriously jump into the mix a year from now or 2 years from now. Like, people need to know their names. And truthfully, like, CrossFit needs to do this to help these young people get sponsors so they can afford to do what they're doing, so the sport as a whole will grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's really short-sighted on their part to not give teens more coverage. That's my critique of CrossFit. But
yeah, I mean, I think that relative to life, our age group athletes right now are the best athletes in all of CrossFit.
Oh, hi, Bean.
he wants to say hi.
He's so cute. I love him.
He looks pissed at you right now.
This is his loving look. He always looks pissed.
Oh, yes, of course.
Do I look like a Bond villain though?
Kind of, like
yeah,
sitting there petting your cat. It's good. It's really, can you swivel in your chair a little bit?
I will get you, Mr. Bond.
Amazing.
I know it was a horrible accent too, but it's best I can do. Best I can do. Notice.
But yeah, I just think like relative to life, like these teenagers are still in school, these masters athletes have full-time jobs and families, and like the fact that they can get this good at this sport, I think that proves that they're some of the best athletes in the entire field, because they can't just dedicate all day every day to training and traveling and going to all these events and going to training camps and, you know, being with all the top athletes all the time. Like, they have lives. And so the fact that they're this good at CrossFit with all that going on in the background, I think makes them just like tops in the sport. So cool.
That's a really good point. Yeah, they juggle a lot.
They don't college. They're going to college.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Can you imagine training for the CrossFit Games during college?
I mean, you know what I was doing during
Exactly. I mean, compared to my regimen, I was pretty studious compared to a lot of my friends, but to have a commitment like that.
Yeah, no way.
Woof.
It's impressive across the board. So we have just a couple more minutes. So what's next for you? Is it the California Classic, or you guys have anything else coming up that?
No, we got Norway. Norway's first, right?
Norway's first.
Yeah, so we got Norway next month. We'll be out there together. Logan is, like she said, filling in on all sorts of aspects of the media team, and I'll be on the sidelines and doing some social stuff. And then West Coast Classic is the following month, right?
West Coast Classic is the end of March 20th through the 22nd.
And if people hear this and they want to get involved and they want to sign up, what do they do?
Go to the westcoastcrossfitclassic.com, and then at the top you can compete. There's options to volunteer too. There's options to spectate. And if you click on the compete, then everything is divided by whichever division that you want to register.
Cool. And if people want to get in touch with you, because you've been sort of boots on the ground going from gym to gym to give everyone the spiel and the details and everything too, how can people get in touch with you if they are out on the West Coast and want you to come by and give them all the info?
Instagram probably is the most efficient. My Instagram handle is lowgirlvpool.
It's just we're taking the complicated last name and simplifying it.
My mom's license plate growing up was V-Pools, short for Vanderpool. So that was like a nickname that stuck with us from that.
Did she drive the V carpools?
Sure did.
Damn it! I'm not funny. Why do I?
Yeah, see,
why do
there it is.
No.
There
it is.
There she is. Just
Perfect.
like that.
Perfect.
So before we wrap up, Logan, here's all my favor I have to ask for you. So when you're in Norway with Niki, we make sure she doesn't piss off the whole country. There's something offensive about Norwegians, because like we've already got Canada that doesn't like us, and Canada doesn't have that many people, so that's fine. But if I get like Europe to hate me too, then I'm really kind of screwed.
Well, we'll rehearse wait, are you Norwegian? And then you go, you would think I'm Norwegian. I'm so flattered.
Thank you. That was so good.
Please.
That's the response.
You guys are my guardrails. You're like the bumpers on my bowling alley. Thank God for you guys.
Wherever Niki goes from now on, we're going to have a coaching session. How to talk in this environment. It's going to be awesome.
I promise I'm nice. Like, for real.
She's really nice, but she's also funny, and it's called sarcasm.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, either Canadians don't have a sense of humor, or she's not that funny. We don't know which it is yet.
Just a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I guess we're going to figure it out. All right. Well, Logan, thanks for coming on. This has been a lot of fun. We will do it.
Thanks so much for having me, John.
You should jump on when Nikki's do some interviews in Norway. You should jump on with her.
For sure.
I won't be there, but you'll be on the podcast in spirit. So
I will be happy to play second fiddle and fill in some shoes to create the conversation.
You're going to have to be the funny one. Please.
Yeah, see, I would prefer it that way. You can just elbow her when she says dumb shit. So
Shut up, God. That's Logan's actual role in real life is just to consistently elbow me when I say dumb shit.
That would be perfect. All right. Well, Logan, thanks for being on. Niki, great to see you as always.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, we appreciate you being on. We will talk to you all soon.